doing Grump at the same time. So you pushing up here, it's just really sloppy.
And unlucky timing. He was using Tremor to push the wave.
Of course. And he had a ward, right? So technically he had done everything correct, except for the fact he was pushing when his team couldn't do anything and he just got ganked. And that's an easy first blood now for HUMA.
That's the same problems that we've seen from Freddy. Airwax takes so much damage from Godbro. The chainsaw roots him in place, knocks the blue buff forward into Betsy's waiting hands, and Airwax survives!
All planned, all planned. Even dodges
a true shot barrage.
Man, that was so close. I don't even know if he tried to knock him away and ended up just knocking him into Betsy. Let's just say he planned to knock him towards him so Betsy could get the kill. Important for ROCCAT. That could have been 2 kills for HUMA now. Instead, Betsy gets a kill. He can push in mid lane again. He's very far ahead in farm.
30 CS ahead and a kill, and this tower may even go down as well.
And then, as we talked about in Champs, like this HUMA composition is all about skirmishing and 1-3-1-ing. If you ever get into teamfights late game, you technically should not be able to win unless you pull off an absolutely insane flank where there's zero vision from the enemy team. So this is very, very risky now for HUMA. Okay, so now it's totally calling the play already. I'm gonna get chunked here. I'm gonna survive, ever so slightly. Ultis ends up just hitting straight on Godbro and actually knocks him into Betty, who then picks up the kill and stays alive.
Unbelievable. That had to have been single-digit HP from Airwax.
So what could have been a really good play for HUMA with getting another kill and a kill onto Godbro before he goes to the side lane ends up being even better for ROCCAT now. So
ROCCAT have got themselves 1,500 gold. Let's do that additional tower that they've secured. Sundisk, killed off by Godbro, not worth anywhere near as much. And it looks like Airwax is moving down bottoms, placing some wards. Both junglers sort of opposite sides of the map, but it'll be much more difficult for Freddy.
And it's very fun to play jungle if your mid laner is winning and he has control, because you can just walk into the jungle and you can go bot lane.
Oh, bot lane's in trouble. Noxack's going to sidestep, and with Subjugate, get some healing. The barrel will kill Jiswika. Holy Phoenix is trying to get a kill back. Whirlip teleported in with the double collateral damage. It's not done yet. Godbro's got his first champion farmed of the game. Freddy and Betsy looking for more. Godbro and Holy Phoenix are so low. It's a 1 for 3 in favor of HUMA.
And look here, top lane, Rudy, he couldn't even join because he was already setting up a potential push on top tower. Then instant TP down from Whirlip. Dive in from ROCCAT, which technically should have been executed well, but they're taking a lot of damage before Airwax even joins. So Noxegg is out of the fight, and Taps is down to about 50%. And then Airwax joins in, so because they took so much damage from tower, it removes the fact that there was no jungler, obviously, from HUMA at this point. Betsy also has to take a long route down to join the fight and ends up not picking up a kill. Holy Phoenix jumps away, so good response here by HUMA. And ROCCAT's bot lane a little bit too greedy on getting in towards that tower and starting the dive. Noxiac was basically dead by the time the fight even started.
Yeah, and did it manage to hurt them as ROCCAT ended up losing that one. So evens up that goal difference.
I mean, Whirlip is 3-0 now. Already has his first item completed. Massive amount of sustain coming from him. High base damage, good for extra wave clear with Q now that the Q got nerfed a few patches ago as well. Not going to be a whole lot. It's going to burst him down. So obviously the passive is not going to be that massive for him against basically 0 burst champions. But it's the sustain.
Yeah.
When you play against Rammus, it's about pushing him in, out-sustaining him.
Getting through that defensive ball curl.
It's going to take time.
Eventual Thornmail.
Yeah. It's going to take time. He's going to build Thornmail, as you said. And then you need the lifesteal to keep that 1v1 going.
And we'll see how long Whirlip stays opted in. Teleport not available for either Freddy or Whirlip. His dragon has been started. And you can see both laners, top laners, in their respective lane. We'll peel away. ROCCAT not fully committing to this one. He's in trouble. Oh, look at Godbro. If he finds Tabs, then Tabs is in trouble. Dash forward. Tabs manages to sidestep the chain. Ignite has been used, but can't afford that one. If Godbro connected, probably dead Tabs.
Oh, 100% a kill there. Tabs had flash as well, in case the chain had landed onto him. But it's a very standard ROCCAT game so far. Betsy's winning his lane. Has won his lane in almost every game we've seen in the LCS. He's actually number 1 mid lane in terms of farm at 10 and 20. Just another stat being pulled out there. Had a great Friday night looking at stats. And of course, Airwax always being around this mid lane. You know, Airwax has been hovering around mid lane a lot and then had that one roam to the bottom lane. And that's again where a bit standard ROCCAT. When it's the side lane that has to make the plays, they tend to go wrong. You know, Freddy overextends top and dies. Dive set up on the bottom lane way too early by Noxzerg and Taps, and they're basically out of the fight before it even happens. And that's just been the story for ROCCAT all split. Trust in Betsy and Eric right now. We need to see more from side.
See if ROCCAT can lean on Betsy's experience, following the True Shot Barrage all the way. Thank you, observers.
I want to see a map where if you shoot it out at the end there, it actually just appears behind you on the other side of the map.
Well, that's a little unfair. It'll just do that permanent loop.
Well, it can do it once.
Siege onto the middle lane. Holy Phoenix and Godbro are going to be escorted in by minions. Godbro again looking to chunk down Tabs. Culling will clear out most of the wave, but in the top lane, ROCCAT will be losing the tower to Werlip. So Werlip's already got himself an advantage.
Yeah.
Looking to be activated as that split pusher. Not much has changed for Werlip since the last time he played in the LCS stage.
No, but he is a great split pusher. Like when he's playing on his own, he's doing really, really well, and he's one of those players who's fun to watch in team fights because as soon as he sees his team is losing, he's the first man to just bail out of there and run out. But he'll always run to a lane where he has a mini wave set up and he's ready to push in the tower. So when you want to try and rush into an enemy base after winning a team fight, you always got to keep in mind, if Werlip is alive, he's probably trying to split push. Same thing for ROCCAT in this game. Hitting gold with the towers, Betsy has been a one-man army almost on this Azir.
Yeah, it's only fair because he can actually summon soldiers. So it helps his case out. Werlip's going to be gifted the Doom's Eve. Doom's Eve with that split push. I really like that name. Fun.
Cocoon Eve?
Yep. We'll get there when we see Elise later in the series.
If we do. When? If we do. Oh, you're saying when? Is that a prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to say when.
Alright, who's going to play it?
I think we'll see it. I think Rudy's going to be more likely.
Alright. We're tracking it.
We'll find out if that actually happens. I can't be worse than your predictions earlier today.
Wait, you mean when I said Splice would win and they won?
But let's be fair. You, yeah.
Oh, I'm not hearing a comeback.
Well, either way, HUMA going to be quite content. They've 2 towers to 3. They've lost all of their outers. Thanks to that great work Betsy did in the middle lane. Betsy up 60 CS over his opposite number and looks to be moving down bottom. So going to play the side lane, push that out a little bit.
And that's the thing, right? In order for HUMA to really execute their strategy, they need to have priority in the side lanes on getting to waves first and push them in first, so you get to push the side lanes. If you have the kill pressure, you will have that. Like, you will be able to walk into a lane and push it first, because whoever is there defending has to respect you and kind of step back and wait for backup before you can do anything against you. In this case, because Gabbro cannot kill Betsy, 2 levels down, you know, pretty far down in CS, putting Betsy in the side lane just makes it actually a win lane for ROCCAT. Top lane, though, has been an issue, and he's almost dying. No,
Collateral damage connected, though. Airlax pins Holy Phoenix and Cast against the wall. Cast is going to be the target. Stand behind me, allows him to hop over the wall to Holy Phoenix. Holy Phoenix dodges some of the culling, but it won't be enough. Dashes over the wall. One lost auto from Tabs takes him down. ROCCAT lost a tower, though. They need to get more for this. Cast is still running for his life as Betsy was shoving up the bottom lane. So, killing Phoenix, getting a bunch of summoners, but the cost of their inner turret up top.
And that's really the issue here for ROCCAT, that 1v1 top lane. Let's see the replay. Hit mid, engage coming from Eric behind him, while we see Rudy obviously on top side with Werlip. Good engage in, and then the Bronze Shield will obviously stop the Gragas ulti and just make it explode in front of them, and therefore knock you slightly back instead of knocking you towards the enemy team. Holy Phoenix will die. I also think the small red buff here would probably have finished him if he actually didn't die just before, and in the end nothing else comes from it. But ROCCAT's calm. We know this. They want a team fight. The only reason they're putting Betsy in side lane right now is because he's going to beat Gabbro. So you win that side lane, and it's only about Werlip, but there's no answer for Werlip if you're on the ROCCAT side. So they want a team fight. They don't want to necessarily keep playing the 1-3-1 game because Freddy doesn't really have anything he can do.
Well, Freddy's got teleport available and 3 targets with no flash. Gabbro, Phoenix, Cast. I mean, you don't really want to taunt Cast, but if he decides to do a Powerball TP, we're after 20 minutes.
Yeah,
it's now been activated. Free kill anywhere Betsy is, basically.
So you're most likely looking for ROCCAT to say, okay, let's push up bot lane. Or if Graves is in the lane, fine, Betsy can sit there. And you have that lane just going even. But then there's a TP advantage for HUMA on the bottom side. But push in this lane, and then move Betsy to mid lane. Join up with Taps. Walk in towards the mid tower, walk into the enemy jungle, and start playing that game. Or you set up a gang on Werlip.
Yeah, don't even need the teleport. Freddy's coming in with the supportive Airwax. Collateral damage to put some distance, but the body slam holds Werlip in place. Freddy decides to flash for this one. It will be a kill, but what more can ROCCAT take? 3-man stack and minions pushing towards the tower. That was quite a lot invested for what was probably going to be a guaranteed kill.
And it wasn't a move to mid lane, but it's still ROCCAT starting to put multiple members together. Set up these plays here. Betsy's been on fire. Alex is finding a Braum in the jungle. And for some reason you can just jump right through a wall.
Yeah, with that big body of his. Does not matter. But this is also fairly reminiscent of HUMA. Watching the games throughout Spring Challenger, they would have some games where Godbro would just go off on champions like LeBlanc or Corky, Lissandra at times, and just hard carry. And then other games where the players individually just simply can show up.
And like that's why a comp like this would become so hard to execute for a team like HUMA when they're not playing against other challenger teams. Because obviously they are playing against better players now that they're facing ROCCAT and especially Betsy and Airwix around this mid lane. So when you want to run this LeBlanc pick, and you want to run this 1-3-1 skirmish comp, you know, catching people off, a lot of tempo, you got to really snowball early on, you have to be able to at least go even in the mid lane. You can't fall behind like what, 40 CS? Yes. Obviously also had that one death to Airwix and Betsy. But it just means the LeBlanc pick then, it becomes so hard to execute it properly. Yeah, Betsy's just going to whatever lane he wants to. Yep. He's stronger than anyone on the map right now. And Alex is constantly just around him, being like, alright, so you want to fight Betsy? No, I'm here. Freddy has TP, all Freddy has to do is literally just don't die. And then he has to call for his team if he needs backup on a tower. As long as he keeps the lane right here in the middle for Freddy, he's doing perfectly fine, he's doing his job. He's just sitting ready to TP.
Freddy has had that teleport for a while, can look to make plays anywhere on the map. Support for ROCCAT moving to the top lane, going to the strongest member, playing around Betsy. But the CS differences, Tabs is way up on Phoenix. Betsy we talked about exceptionally already.
He's on his Thornmail now.
Gonna go all in with the Tremors and the Thornmail and the Sunfire Cape. So as long as Freddy knows where the rest of HUMA are, he can play aggressive, but there's that sustain. It's just so good. Everything Freddy did has already been undone by Werlip, and Werlip's not even budged out of lane.
But again, as long as he keeps Werlip all the way down here on the map, that's fine. But again, the TP from Rammus is a lot more impactful right now, and coming in, locking down one target. No, obviously, only one QSS now for Holy Phoenix. So just taunt the Nidalee, taunt the LeBlanc, and then Betsy will just kill them instantly together with Tap. And you can see now ROCCAT is just playing 1-3-1 themselves because they are so far ahead with their mid laner. They just have that instant winning lane, and then Taps is always pushing mid. And Lucian pushing waves compared to Ezreal, big difference.
Noxia gets tagged by the Winter's Bite. Glacial Fissure knocks him up into the air as the True Shot Barrage comes out. Airwax interrupts the pounce with a body slam. Werlip now takes a full face of the culling. That was a couple ultimates invested just for the possibility, but it doesn't really bother ROCCAT. Betsy started to leave from the top lane. The one thing that ROCCAT I feel could probably do a better job of is just pushing some of that vision deeper into HUMA's jungle, because they have been playing, they were playing fairly aggressive. But not a lot of pink wards in the inventory, so let's see if they adjust that for future pushes.
One of the classic mistakes where you have the pink wards down on the map, and you're kind of saying, you're clapping each other on the shoulder, being like, nice job. You know, you placed your pink wards, look, we got 5 pinks
in the
on the map.
tri-bush,
Exactly.
ROCCAT tri-bush,
No,
in the bottom lane.
We have pinks on the map. That's what counts. The problem is, obviously, once you push further in, you want to take those pinks and you want to move them. I know it sucks, you know, watching that pink ward you placed.
Die.
You kind of kill it yourself by moving in towards
team killed it.
Different position. It is, and it is tough, especially for these mid laners and AD carries where you have to tell them so many times, you know, pink ward. Now you need to kill your own pink ward, by the way, to move it further in.
Biscuits at 25 minutes, much more valuable against LeBlanc and Nidalee and Graves.
And that's the thing, right? Always move them further and further and further. Once you're pushing up, take the enemy jungle. It should be yours now. Farm the jungle, get full vision in it with your pink ward, your green ward, and then suddenly you can only try and steal objective.
Alright, I got a little excited there.
But this
Nidalee Spear and True Shot Barrage, I thought it could happen.
In like 3-4 minutes, this will just be the same around Baron. If again you have the deep vision on top side, have the pink wards around the Baron.
There are no pink wards, so stop making this prediction.
No, there are 2 right now.
Okay.
Look at this, let's turn it around.
Okay.
But then they should have gone back and obviously bought more.
Yeah.
But that's what you did around Dragon is what you want to do around Baron.
Alright, so ROCCAT, let's see if they can make the same play again. Gonna just siege up this middle inner turret. Look at the damage onto Cars. 3 or 4 autos from Betsy. Rylai's completed, Nash's completed, Abyssal completed.
He's earned 11,000 gold already. Godbro is on 8,600.
Wow. Well, you can see why Godbro has some of the lowest CS between 15 and 30 minutes, which you talked about much earlier, Officio, because when he's playing side lanes, he's not picking it up. Red buff is secured by Rudy. He's denied to Holy Phoenix at least, so it's a little bit of threat in terms of the jungle, and ROCCAT just splits up. They're going to keep playing 1-3-1.
Yep.
It's extending the lead. It's relatively safe for the team so far.
And now you're moving towards the Baron. This is what we just talked about. What you did around Dragon, forcing them to like try and blind steal it. Fine, do the same around Baron. They have to come in and face check you soon. Then you have wards behind them and Freddy TP's in behind, or you just catch them out like this. And again, this is what happens when you have control in the jungle. They are forced to walk to Baron at some point. There was Ezreal ulti for Dragon as well, to check what's going on. And then you just kill them.
Defensive flash from Rudy. ROCCAT smell blood in the water. Godbro's in trouble, but he's got a flash available. Airwax body slam, barrel knocks him backwards. Betsy's looking to chase. As Godbro goes away, flashes over the walls. They're looking for the HUMA mid lane. And Godbro gets taken down by Tabs. 2 easy kills, and ROCCAT turns towards Baron.
Yeah, nice little play by Airwax here. He didn't want to ulti instantly. He wanted to see if Godbro was trying to flash it, or if he had a second jump with his distortion here with the ulti. That's why he saved it, body slam first then, and then knocked him in. They are trying to stop the Baron. It's only 3v5.
3v5, Werlip's got his ultimate. Baron gets dropped to about 2,000 HP before the rest of ROCCAT peel away. Baron has been interrupted, which I think is crucial. But it did cost the teleport and flash for Werlip, as well as from much earlier on. Right, what tower's going down?
That's it,
Bottom
lane,
in a toad. So all of that work. If Rudy didn't come earlier and put those autos down, the tower may not have
That is
fallen
true.
down.
That is true. The tower would still be alive. Willib obviously pushing it up. Freddy's with his
It was
team.
the 24-minute game, Officio. Next level planning.
You are 100%
What
correct.
can you say about that?
That's it, right?
But crucially, HUMA keep themselves gold relevant by taking down the last remaining outer turret. And this is how it all started. We just saw the fake check.
I mean, Kaz is like, all right, I gotta go in and like see what's going on, see if I can place a ward maybe over the wall, and then obviously there's no vision spotting him. ROCCAT walks straight in, picks up the first kill, and it's why when you have these comps where, or when you get this far ahead and you just push in every lane, whichever objective you're playing around, being a Dragon or Baron, that's where you put your vision. So the enemy team just walks in blind, you just engage. Like, imagine if they actually had a few more wards behind them as ROCCAT, Freddy would just TP in. What do you do? Freddy's just behind you now, and then in front of you is the rest of ROCCAT.
2 trinkets are down. Noxiac is playing the sacrificial lamb. Baron is secured completely safely by ROCCAT, and the subjugate will buy time for Noxiac to stay alive. A good barrel pins HUMA against the wall, and Cast is trying to save everyone's life with the Fisher. The taunt lands onto Phoenix, forcing out the QSS. But ROCCAT have connected 2 back-to-back as the True Shot Barrage doesn't do anything to help HUMA out. 8 kills to 4. ROCCAT now can take this 1-3-1 even further with Baron and Pard minions.
And now you can just do everything. Honestly, group up 4-man towards the tower, have Freddy pushing one other lane, and you can just poke away with Betsy so effectively. So this is the Baron start, this is what we mentioned again. You have the control around it, they are coming in to try and stop you. Behind them is Freddy coming with the flank, and now you have this great engage here from Airwax with a 3-mag body slam. Playing extremely well on this Gragas, and then of course Freddy down here in the bottom of the screen as well, just being annoying. 100%
kill participation for Airwax on that Gragas. Good, you know, he's holding his barrels for the right time.
Yep.
He's been in the right areas where HUMA has tried to pressure and supported Betsy. I mean, look, Airwax and Betsy hold hands when they play all the time.
And it's something that actually worked against a lot of LCS teams in the early game. It was those 2 guys. Obviously against the challenger team, I feel like it's going to work as well now. I mean, that's what we've seen now, so it's an easy prediction to make. But that's the thing. It's going to be very tough for HUMA to challenge that 2v2. If we look at the final against Copenhagen Wolves, Rudy and Sweet Cast were the 2 weaker members for HUMA. Against ROCCAT, you know, you can't really afford to have a weaker jungle matchup in this case, or weaker jungler, even though you actually have a better matchup with mid lane, of course.
And lane swap somewhat nullifies that power.
Exactly, that's why again the lane swap was so smart from ROCCAT, and I felt like HUMA could have tried to swap after it, but it's so easy to say because
we've got perfect hindsight.
We can see it hindsight 2020, and at the same time as well, if you didn't swap top and they didn't actually swap, you just look stupid. Because now you're top lane and you're like, man, what are we doing here? Like, we wanted the 2v2.
Would you have gone as far as to say HUMA's team comp hinged on a lane swap. It's something that I know Crepo speaks quite a lot about on air and off air, how a team comp can be sort of broken by lane swaps sometimes. Do you think that, or do you think that's overly harsh?
I mean, the comp is definitely a bit worse if there is a swap, except for the fact that Graves does extremely well in lane swap in terms of pushing in towers very fast with the shotgun there. But because, again, you want to set up mid lane to do well, you want to snowball early. The lane swap kind of shuts that down. So yeah, they got affected by it. And now Betsy's doing everything.
Looking for Cast again, puncturing Taunt holds him in place. Betsy's taken a lot of damage from Werlip. They've turned it around. It becomes a 2-on-4, but the inhibitor in the top lane was broken. And the base was open down bottom. A 6,000 gold Baron power play. We may be breaking all records for Baron power plays in the promotion tournament thus far. We've seen some huge ones. But ROCCAT, despite losing Freddy, I think they'll still be very happy with that siege, with the push, and the fact they've got another dragon,
6K
inhibitors. They can just set up siege in middle or bottom lane to look to close the game out.
Exactly. So, you know, that leaves a lot of questions for HUMA in this game here, because they came in with this comp as the first game, and normally for first game, it's one of the games you prepare the most for. You try and predict what the other team is going to pick, and you try and like prepare your team for what is your team normally doing in game, like what is it they're doing well, and everything there comes into game one. If you then start having all these things you thought were going to happen, or maybe you didn't expect to happen, and it all happens in game one, adapting becomes harder unless you prepare like 3-4 different strategies, and that's what we need to see from HUMA, because again, running this 1-3-1 heavy skirmish has to snowball if it falls behind. Like this combo, if it falls behind, as we can see, there's barely anything, because Werlip is in the side lane. You wait for this now, LeBlanc jumping in on Iceborne Gauntlet as well. Like there's no wait for this. It's just free push from ROCCAT every time. Static shift from Cap to always push mid first, and he just gave pushing power to 2 lanes for ROCCAT, and only Freddy were honestly in trouble.
I think it's important to note that Godbro opted into this matchup. It was a last pick LeBlanc after seeing everybody except the Rammus on the side of ROCCAT. So it was a mid lane matchup. They knew their early priority, first pick Nidalee. 0-0-2, Rudy just did not have that impact because of how important the lane swap became. ROCCAT grouped themselves up now, 4 members in the middle, 1 down bottom. Freddy's got TP if he needs it.
Go to Freddy, honestly. You can go 5-man in on that inhib if you want. You have this
HUMA do not want to fight.
No, I mean, you got a 4-item Rammus now coming in as well, and you just engage.
Yes, they can. Cast is the target for now. The barrel roll, or body slam rather, comes out from the back. Airwhack connects onto Godbro, throws him back into the team with the cast. Everybody from HUMA's trying to peel away. Freddy's down, Airwax is down. ROCCAT were unable to get the kills, despite it looking so good at the start. Noxiac, Betsy, and Tabs, the last men standing. Betsy's got himself a double. Tabs dashes forward, picks up the kill onto Rudy, and the inhibitor will follow shortly thereafter. Super minions in the top. ROCCAT, they may want to stick around. Still got to deal with a full health Godbro and Holy Phoenix. Holy Phoenix spamming out those mystic shots. Dashes forward with the arcane shift. Flashes over. Still available rather. With the arcane shift moving him around the fight. Both Nexus turrets are down. And in 34 minutes, ROCCAT destroy HUMA's base.
So a fairly risky composition coming in from HUMA. One of these comps that has been working for them back in the Challenger Series, but it's so much harder to execute once you face the LCS teams, where the level does go up a bit, and it never really got rolling other than Werlip. He picked up a few kills, and it also came from ROCCAT with that failed dive in the bottom lane where he TP'd in and got 2 kills on the Graves, and you know, Werlip had his impact, but losing the mid lane this hard, losing mid tower also because Gabro ended up dying when he tried to pick off Airwax, lost the mid tower right after. Betsy could just pick whatever lane he wanted to, and no one could stop him.
Yeah.
He tried to send Werlip there, instant, you know, Ramses comes down, Gragas moves down, you just insect back the Graves, he dies, and Betsy keeps pushing in. So mid lane matchup became very key, and of course a good performance from Airwax as well on Graves. Sorry, on Gragas.
On Gragas, yeah. Very good battles throughout the course of the game, and that matchup that Godbro opted into is the first time he's lost all year on LeBlanc. 5-1 now after being taken down, actually very handily by Betsy. Their laning phase was heavily in Betsy's favor throughout the course of the game.
Yes.
But now we need to see what happens. It's interesting because the next game is the only one that ROCCAT will be on blue side. So ROCCAT had the choice of sides in games 1, 3, and 5. They chose red side. This is the first time that HUMA had the choice of side, and they chose red side as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic changes, if at all, because that dynamic change was what helped Splice in the previous series.
It did, yeah.
So we will